Hi everybody, so I had an interesting question the other night about how do you spawn in the coloured weapon attachments in your DAYZ private community server, whether that be for PlayStation, Xbox or PC. I've previously done videos about how to spawn in the coloured weapon variants, and then you can have the attachments spawn in on them by using spawnable types.xml, but never just the attachments by themselves. Not something I really thought about, but it's easy to do, and it's in types.xml. So you may well remember how we got the coloured weapon variants to spawn in. So for example, here is the AK-74 black. And what we do is we make sure it has a nominal value above 0. We make sure it has a minimum value below the nominal value. So 10 is the number that should spawn in. 5 is the minimum amount at which they start respawning in. And then we make sure the crafted tag is set to 0. So the crafted tag was there because weapons like the AK-74 black or the black attachments or the green attachments used to be created by combining a spray can with the weapon or the attachment, and then that would then give you the black AK or the black buttstock. But spray cans don't work, so we've got to take crafted off, put it to 0, counting map 1, and then this is the other really important stuff. If you want something to spawn in, it's got to have a nominal, it's got to have a minimum, and it must have a category and a usage name. So in the case of the AK-74 black, it's weapons and military. Now luckily enough, all the attachments are already here in our types file, ready for when the spray cans come back in and start working again. But if we just search for, say for example, for M4 and just click through till we find a coloured attachment. There we go. So this is the M4 RISH handguard. And there we got the black and the green variants underneath. So straight away we can see that the handguard black has a nominal of 0 and it has a minimum of 0. It has a crafted tag of 1, so it can only be crafted. And importantly, down the bottom, it only has a category tag of weapons when we know it should have a usage tag as well. Otherwise it won't spawn in. Now the easiest way to adjust these is simply to go to the standard handguard, in this case this one, and all we do is we just copy all of that and paste it on top of, very carefully, the other two, the black and the green ones. So now we can see we've added a nominal value of 5, so there should be 5 of these black handguards that spawn in. They'll start spawning in when it gets down to 2. It's only counted on the map and it's not crafted, and it has a category name of weapons and its usage name is military. So when we save this, re-upload it to our server, restart our server, and the central loot economy starts to grind. Remember, as long as people are on the server, unless you adjust the settings in your globals.xml, when people log off your server, everything stops. The server goes to sleep. So as long as people are on the server, or you've changed your globals.xml setting, these will start to spawn in. However, using the example of these two with the black and the green handguard, there's only 5 of them. So if you're thinking of going onto your server and having a look around and finding them, it would be very difficult to find them. They are very, very rare things. 5 black handguards spread across the whole of the military areas in Chernerus is worse than a needle in a haystack. So I recommend you go through and change all of the coloured weapon variants, but don't go mad, don't put hundreds of them in, because they are just attachments at the end of the day. And when weapons do spawn in, they do spawn in with kind of some random attachments already on them. But then tell your people on your server, can you please look out for these that they're spawning in? And also, obviously, once you've done your edits, go over to an XML validator and validate the file to make sure you haven't made any spelling mistakes, ignoring any of the comments errors you get where there's too many hyphens for some reason that Bohemia Interactive like to put in. So there we go. What I'll do as well is I'll put a link in the description down below to Rav Mustang's class dump for weapons, because you may well not know all of the different coloured options, but if you go down to the weapons, you'll see all the different options you've got for the different types of attachments that you can have in terms of coloured attachments, and you'll see there's black, green, and sometimes there's camo instead of green that you can get to spawn in. Right, so there we go. That, my friends, is how you get coloured weapon attachments to spawn in by editing your types.xml file. Hopefully you found that useful. If you have, hit the like button. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.